Every choice carries consequences. But when desperation comes knocking, consequences become a luxury. You didn't enter the underworld out of a thirst for power, you stepped into it because of a hospital bill soaked in sweat. Look at your hands. A 3-5-year-old lawyer, competent enough not to end up sleeping under a bridge, yet destined to remain forever invisible. Your American dream just collapsed in a medical malpractice case gone wrong. You gambled everything on it to save your aging parents. But the law doesn't protect the weak. It serves those who can pay legal fees equal to your yearly income. Your reputation is shattered. A trivial technical mistake has turned you into waste. No one will hire you anymore, not even to contest a traffic ticket. Under the dim yellow light of a parking lot with no cameras, your phone rings again. The hospital is pressing. Your account is empty. Desperation lingers on your tongue with a bitter taste. The line between desperate integrity and a compromising nod is terrifyingly thin. An old colleague appears. 2 years ago, he was just as broken as you. Tonight, the stench of his burnt cigar fills the cramped space. A stack of wrinkled, stained cash is pushed across the table. He makes an offer, an administrative consulting job for some businessmen in Mexico. Your conscience screams, but the steady beeping of the ventilator in the hospital room is louder 1,000 times over. You lie to your wife with a stiff smile about a safe international client. You pack your bags. You get into the car. The justice system has already worn you down, and now, the organization begins to consume you. There is no heroism here. The psychological survival game has just unlocked its first rung on the ladder of underground power. You close your eyes, fully surrendering, as corruption quietly takes root in the decaying core of your own morality. Rank 1. Outer Ring Corporate Counsel. That cowardly compromise in the parking lot that night bought you a one-way ticket out of the landfill of integrity. You leave behind sweat-soaked debt papers and step into soundproof VIP rooms with no windows. The first lesson of the underworld doesn't come from a bullet. It comes from something disturbingly ordinary. You used to think devils had horns and carried tridents? No. Here, devils wear Italian silk suits, expensive cologne, and pay salaries on time. You arrive after days of travel. No crumbling warehouses, no gunshots at dawn. Reality is a sterile kind of luxury. Immaculate offices, solid wood desks, air conditioning that breathes out cold, lifeless air. Ironically, this place is 10,000 times cleaner than the shabby law office where you once devoted your youth. They lay out 2 dry administrative rules before you. Rule 1. You don't need to prove your client is a saint, only that the police lack evidence. Rule 2. Under no circumstances, ever, may you refuse a client. Brutality wrapped in polite legal language. The job begins. Corruption doesn't start with murder. It advances line by line through documents. You sit in a leather chair, sipping machine-brewed coffee. You become an outer ring corporate consultant. You fluently explain legal loopholes. You teach traffickers of death to say, "I don't recall," instead of "I don't know." You launder blood-stained money through shell corporations. Everything unfolds like an afternoon at a cafe, bureaucratic, dull, and disturbingly safe. Your bank account swells, 10 times your usual fees for a few hours of typing. Guilt is packaged away, buried beneath the justification of hospital bills now paid. You tell yourself you're just a tax consultant. You don't pull the trigger. Your hands are still clean. It's the most comforting lie of the money-driven age. But at night, a quiet fear lurks. You begin to distrust even your own shadow. A knock on the door at 3 a.m. tightens your chest. A passing glance from a security guard sparks paranoia that eats at your mind. This glass cage of safety is, in truth, a prison without bars. Then the day comes. Pride from easy money clouds your judgment. A special client walks in, asking you to fabricate evidence for a cartel boss. The risk is too high. Your debts are paid. You don't need trouble. You confidently shake your head. You refuse. The client stands up, his eyes cold, and leaves without a word. 5 minutes. That's all it takes for the illusion to shatter. Your old colleague walks in, followed by 2 emotionless giants. No negotiation. A punch hits your face with the force of a freight train. Bruised. Torn. You collapse into your own blood on the spotless tile floor. The kicks are cold, precise like they were programmed. You black out. When ice water is thrown in your face, you wake up tied to a chair. Blood fills your mouth. Your colleague stands there, calmly repeating rule number 2. The truth crashes down mercilessly. You walked into hell of your own will. He confiscates your passport, smashes your phone. Your human rights are erased in 30 seconds. Then he places a photo on the table, a candid shot of your wife and child laughing this morning. He smiles faintly. Next time you refuse, the one going to the hospital won't be you. Your heartbeat freezes. Submission floods your soul. Your life is now collateral owned by the organization. Guilt arrives late, bitter, and crushing. There is no escape. The game is locked. Rank 2. Frontline Defense and Trial Lawyer. The family photo placed face down on your desk has become a sentence of unconditional submission, stripping away your free will and forcing you out of the harmless consulting chair straight into the suffocating trenches of the courtroom. What is truth here? The first brutal lesson for a frontline lawyer: truth does not exist. It is nothing more than a flexible concept, a lump of lifeless clay molded by whoever holds the power to reshape evidence. The physical pain from that earlier beating was only a prelude. Intellectual corruption is the final execution. Guilt doesn't strike immediately. It hides patiently behind the death notice of your conscience, waiting for the day you tear apart your last remaining principle with your own hands. A new case file is thrown in front of you, heavy, the smell of fresh print mixed with the acrid stench of cheap cigars. This time, the job goes beyond tax evasion or asset concealment. You must block an extradition order. A high-ranking cartel boss is facing a maximum security prison in the United States, the U.S. Department of Justice has never learned to accept the word no. But the organization's rule number 2, never refuse a client, hangs around your neck like a pre-tied noose. Your cracked rib throbs. You swallow hard. You stare at the floor and nod. You are confined for 3 days in a room drowning in documents. Cold coffee mixes with overwhelming panic. You eat, sleep, and breathe. Crimes turned into paperwork. The organization's code doesn't just forbid you from speaking to the police, it strips you of even the right to think about escape. Anyone near a window could be a target for a hidden sniper. Psychological survival transforms you into a cold document processing machine. You dig through annotations, transcripts, recordings, and you find it a deep canyon in the police procedure. Court day. Harsh white fluorescent lights expose emotionless faces. You walk in not as a defender of justice, but as a cornered predator forced to defend its den so its family can survive. Your objective: create reasonable doubt. The prosecution's key witness appears a former cartel member turned informant. Instead of arguing truth, you destroy his identity. In a flat, emotionless tone, you expose his personal blog where he writes about alien lizards controlling the government. You turn to the jury, your gaze chillingly calm. Can we entrust justice to a man who believes his microwave talks to him? His credibility collapses into dust within 30 seconds. Next piece of evidence: an audio recording of asset transfers. You calmly adjust your suit and request a voice biometric analysis. That hoarse voice could belong to anyone with a cold. Without verification, the recording is just noise. The killing blow lies in the phone containing the execution order, the case's fatal weak point. You walk slowly to the stand and request the chain of custody records. 48 missing hours. No seal. No signatures. You lower your voice, sharp as a blade. For 2 full days, this phone was an unclaimed ghost. Anyone could have planted data on it. Doubt floods the courtroom. The judge strikes the gavel. Case dismissed. You've succeeded. With legal brilliance, you've just turned a mass-murdering mastermind into a victim of procedural failure. You walk out. Cold sweat soaks your shirt. Your old colleague is waiting, pulling you into the car. No stacks of dirty cash this time. The only reward is a phone call to your wife. You hear her voice and almost break down. She senses the tension in your breathing. Paranoia clamps down on your throat. The man beside you casually cleans his nails with a folding knife, eyes fixed on you. You stammer. Everything's fine. When the call ends, he leans close and whispers, "Good job. Remember, if you ever tell your family the truth, they'll disappear without a trace." Only now does the guilt truly hit heavy, suffocating. This rung of power doesn't lift you upward. It drags you deeper into the mud. You've used your intelligence to enable evil, traded other people's lives for your own cowardly safety. The game is far from over. The invisible noose has only tightened one more turn around your neck. Rank 3, Chief Counsel and Money Laundering Specialist. Your flawless deception in the frontline trial has bought you a gilded cage at the next level. You are no longer on the outer ring. You've moved deep into the heart chamber of the organization. The cruelest lesson of underground power isn't violence, it's the illusion of choice. In the isolation of your newly granted luxury apartment, you find a folded note in your suit pocket. A reverse pickpocket placed it there, a message from an undercover DEA agent. His team has been slaughtered. He's alone, surrounded by wolves, and needs you to extract a bribery list from the basement server. In return, witness protection for your entire family. A window of hope opens, but all you can smell is the suffocating stench of blood. The desperate cling to miracles. But here, miracles are just death sentences, wrapped as gifts. You tighten a red tie around your neck, the signal of agreement. The knot presses against your throat like a waiting noose. As you walk through the pristine office, every footstep echoes across polished tiles, amplifying the paranoia eating away at your mind. Silent fear lurks in every corner. The guards glance, the receptionists nod, everything feels like a pending verdict. You recite the brutal code of omerta. Those who speak die. Their families vanish without a trace. Suspicion suffocates your lungs. Communication with the agent is hidden through discarded snack receipts in restroom trash bins. Filth beneath a polished surface. The plan is set. Using an anniversary party as cover, you infiltrate the server room. Crime is now digitized. Lives, dirty money, corrupted judges, all compressed into a cold hard drive. You bring it to the rendezvous at midnight. Under the dim yellow lights of a camera-less parking lot, the agent appears. Escape is within reach. Then a shadow stretches across the wall, your cartel colleague, gun raised. The agent urges you to run with the evidence. He's ready to die to protect you. And here it is, the moment moral corruption reaches its absolute peak. Survival instinct, the cowardly parasite in your brain, rewrites your humanity. You don't run. You whisper, "I'm sorry." You step back. You hand over the only person who tried to save you to the wolves. No dramatic shootout, no heroism. Just a chilling silence as evil devours a life. You trade compassion for your own breath. Submission is complete. You've sold your soul for the cheapest price possible. The agent's death becomes the perfect stepping stone, lifting you into a soundproof VIP estate. The boss isn't a tattooed monster. He's a frail old man, calmly watering orchids. He smiles, praising your pragmatic cruelty. A man who knows how to sacrifice pawns to save the king. The promotion is complete. You become chief counsel and money laundering specialist. Rust-stained alleys are replaced by Italian silk suits. Your work now is to patch blood-soaked financial pipelines through administrative procedures. You clean millions so efficiently the money looks freshly printed. To the government, you are a prestigious lawyer. To the organization, you are indispensable. From the top, power looks magnificent, luxurious, and flawless. As long as you never, ever, dare to look down at the countless nameless corpses forming the foundation beneath your feet. Rank 4, top-tier lawyer and supreme advisor. The corpse of that DEA agent didn't rot beneath the soil, it became a deep crimson carpet, paving your way into the sanctuary of ultimate power. The greatest lesson of the underworld isn't how to pull a trigger, but how to cultivate the kind of cruelty that lets you ignore the ghosts screaming beneath your feet. Absolute numbness bought you a leather chair at the highest level. No longer an outer circle errand runner, you are the adopted son, the supreme advisor, the only one permitted to whisper blood-soaked secrets into the boss's ear. 5 years pass. 5 years of corruption wrapped in Italian silk and soundproof offices. You stand at the peak of the organization. The view is magnificent, luxurious. But the air here is so thin it suffocates. You manipulate human lives through loopholes in administrative procedures. You erase inconvenient cases. You turn filthy money into clean digits on a screen. A plumber patching broken financial pipelines. To the outside world, you are a prestigious lawyer. To this empire, you are a machine of execution, powered by legal language. But absolute power walks hand in hand with absolute paranoia. The Omerta Code, the law of silence, tightens around your own throat. You know too much. Every night, you lie awake in the darkness of your gilded cage. The faintest sound from the ventilation system conjures the image of a suppressed gun barrel. You distrust the maid's glance, the bitterness of your morning coffee. Guilt doesn't roar, it gnaws slowly. The peak of this ladder is, in truth, a golden coffin where you bury the last fragment of your humanity alive. And then, the inevitable day arrives. The justice system finally casts its net. The boss is arrested. The judge reads an endless indictment. Arms trafficking, money laundering, conspiracy to murder. The courtroom is packed, suffocating, tense. The air reeks of judgment. The boss sits at the defendant's stand, smiling arrogantly. He trusts you, his most loyal dog, the keeper of life and death. You step forward. The performance begins. With the cold precision of a programmed machine, you dismantle the police's case. You expose flaws in evidence collection. You shred witnesses with cutting sarcasm. Your voice echoes, filled with feigned outrage. The judge wavers. The jury hesitates. The boss watches, triumphant, certain he'll sleep in his feather bed tonight. Once again, you turn the legal system into a farce. But then, the prosecutor slowly stands. A black ledger and a box of tapes are placed on the table. Anonymous evidence delivered that very morning. Not vague, circumstantial proof this is a death ledger. Every gram of product moved, every bribe paid, every execution ordered over 5 years. Precise. Terrifyingly precise. The courtroom falls silent. The air freezes. The boss pales, turning sharply toward you. His eyes widen, waiting for you to object, to slam the table, to shout because only one person alive had access to that basement vault. You don't move. You sit there, calmly adjusting your tie. You say nothing. Your silence pierces his eardrums. Arrogance collapses into pure terror as he realizes the coldest betrayal of all. He thought you were scheming to save him from prison. He was right, but not in the way he imagined. He won't go to prison. The prosecutor demands the death penalty. The gavel falls. Fate is sealed. The boss is dragged away, screaming curses that echo through the hallway. In the gallery, a corrupt henchman trembles as he dials the assassins. The order to wipe out your family is given. But on the other end, there are no gunshots. Instead, a federal agent's voice, cold, controlled. The hit squad has been neutralized. Your family is safe, sitting in an FBI safe house, quietly drinking hot chocolate. The truth strikes like a final psychological blow. That DEA agent, the one you thought you sacrificed, had planned everything. From the start, he knew he would be exposed. He forced you to sacrifice him to earn the boss's absolute trust. It was the only way to bring the entire empire into the light. You never betrayed him. You were just a piece in his endgame. But that truth brings no peace. The disgust, the self-loathing of having stepped over blood and bones just to survive those stains will never fade. The cartel is dismantled. A 150-year sentence hangs over your head for complicity. But the justice system is as pragmatic as the underworld. You delivered the biggest shark. Your reward for ultimate corruption is immunity. The game is over. You are alive, but your soul has been burned so completely. Not even ashes remain. The secute of an underground empire brings no radiant glory. It buys you only one final ticket, the right to disappear. The blood of a DEA agent. Decades of cartel purges, everything is neatly converted by the system into a thin manila envelope. Immunity. You leave the courthouse through the back exit, drifting like a ghost. No handcuffs, no flashing cameras, just a sealed black van waiting in silence. Inside the envelope, brand new passports, fabricated social security numbers, a flawlessly laundered identity. Yesterday's absolute power is dead, replaced by a raw, bitter truth. The justice system doesn't save you. It repurposes you. You step into the vehicle, wrapping your arms around your wife and children. They are safe. But the decent man they once relied on has long since been crushed. The van carries you to a distant state, where snow blankets the ground for half the year. Yet the biting cold of the weather is nothing compared to the frost consuming your mind. No more Italian silk suits. No more soundproof VIP rooms. No more life or death verdicts. The cruelest lesson this world leaves behind is not written in the deadly codes of Omerta, but in the true shape of what they call survival. You are free, but it is the freedom of a man sentenced to life by his own conscience. You stare out the window. The white snow outside seems desperate to bury the invisible bloodstains on your hands. Paranoid fear clings to every neuron. A passing glance on an unfamiliar street. A sudden knock during a snowstorm enough to stop your heart. For the first time in years, you no longer have to bow or manipulate anyone. Because now, you are no one. The game is over. You sold your soul for the right to breathe meaninglessly. And becoming a nobody has never felt so cold, so terrifying.